Are you ready to unlock the power of Linux? Let's dive into essential commands. Linux empowers users with command line efficiency. Master these basic commands to navigate your system effectively. First, use --ls to list directory contents. Always check your files. Use ~lsl for details. Next, --cd changes directories. For instance, ~cd documents opens that folder. Use ~cd to move up one level. That is, to go back one directory to know where you are, type ~pwd . This command displays your exact location. Creating new folders is easy with ~mkdir . Type ~mkdir my_new_folder to create a new directory. Need to remove an empty directory? Just use ~rmdir . This works only on empty folders. Be cautious with ~room . This command deletes files. For example, ~room my_file.txt removes the file. Use ~room my_folder to delete a folder and its contents. Copy files with ~cp . For instance, ~cp file1.txt file1_backup.txt makes a copy easily. Want to move or rename? Use ~mv . Type ~mv old_name.txt new_name.txt to rename a file. Or move it with ~mv file.txt documents . To view a file, use cat my_document.txt . It quickly shows the file's content. For larger files, use ~less . Press space to go down a page, and ~q to quit. Display the first few lines using ~head . For example, ~head n5 my_log.txt shows the first 5. Check the last few lines with ~tail . ~tail f my_log.txt updates as the log grows. Looking for something specific? Use ~grep . For example, ~grep error log.txt finds errors in logs. Find files quickly with ~find . Type ~find name report.pdf to locate documents. It is good if you want to search for any file in directory control file access with --chmod . For instance, --chmod 755 script.sh sets permissions wisely. Change ownership with --chown . Type --chown user group file.txt to adjust file ownership. Monitor your disk with --df . ~dfh shows space use in readable format. Estimate file size with ~do . For example, ~do shush folder reveals total folder size. Review processes with ~ps . Use ~pso for an extensive process list. Lastly, use ~kill to terminate processes. Find the PID with ~ps then type ~kill PID . To summarize, mastering these commands boosts your Linux command line skills. Remember these basics for smoother navigation and file management. Start your Linux journey today. Experiment with these commands and become a pro. Happy command line exploring!